So, let's see. Oh, okay. Well, I think I've covered all of his essential moves, so let's get to the hover. This is the important stuff. So, Vlad has his own unique meter, and that is the jetpack meter. Jetpack meter gets used when you hover. So, yeah, whenever you jump, if you tap up again, do a little hover. You can hold it, hover for as long as you like. Well, as long as you have jetpack meter. So, you can see the bar on the side. Every time you use the jetpack to hover, it uses a bit of your meter. Until you run out. And then it slowly regenerates, and then you can keep doing more hover stuff. So, Vlad can only regenerate his jetpack meter when he's on the ground. So, like, if I use a bunch of this and I keep jumping, it's not recovering. But if I stand perfectly still, or just stay on the ground, it recovers just fine. So you kind of have to balance between using your hover and then staying grounded for a while to get your jetpack meter so you can keep doing hover stuff. And when you hover, you can do jump normals, as if you were doing a diagonal jump. And so this is where jump medium comes into play. So you see that if I quickly do a hover input right after I start jumping, this is like, I guess, like anime instant air dash style stuff. So if like I double tap up to get an instant hover, and I do jump medium, I'm at like the perfect angle where this move actually covers that space. Which means that this is actually a primary form of offense for Vlad. This is like one of your main ways to get in and start stuff. So using this instant hover jump medium punch. That's why this move is so good. Obviously you can like fly from out here, like, you know, way out past range that you think they'd be able to get you. Be able to get them, just get in, jump fierce, do stuff from there. You can only hover forward, you can't hover neutral or backward. But it's still good because you can do this from like a back jump even. You know, you can neutral jump into it, forward jump into it, and backward jump and then go back forward and do it. You can do fun stuff like jump back, hover forward, fire a rocket, things like that. So you have a lot of control over where you are in the air. And that's, I mean, this is like the main thing with Vlad. This is what makes this character this character. But there's another fun property to hover, which I know a lot of you have seen a lot, but some people might not be familiar with. So, when Vlad does a hover, or really does like any like jump move in particular, if I make contact with you and I do a jump attack, I can cancel it into a hover and immediately do another jumping normal. Any jumping normal. So, stuff like that. So, Vlad has hover cancels. He can cancel jumping attacks into hover, and then do another jumping attack, so you basically get a double overhead. And you can actually, like, do stuff like, you know, a neutral hover into a jump in, into a hover cancel, into another normal. You can also do this off of any of Vlad's standing heavy attacks, so either close or far heavy, like that. This is the far heavy. So, yeah, that's a really, really big part of Vlad's game for pretty obvious reasons, because you get potential for a double overhead mix-up when you do it from a jump. You can do, like, a fast overhead from grounded, or, in general, you can just use this to do a big, extended, hard-hitting combo. See, like, that's like a bread and butter combo for Vlad, and that does like 260 damage and like half of your stun meter. And that's not even as deep as it can go. So, like, yeah. Hover cancels are a pretty big deal. And it's obvious that they're a pretty big deal because whenever you do a hover cancel, you use a very significant portion of your jetpack meter. Like, I'd say that's about, like, 75% of your jetpack meter. Which means if you don't have that, then you can't perform the hover cancel. So, like, I'm trying to do it after I've used it once already, and it's not going. Because you need to have a lot of jetpack meter to be. And that's just because of how strong it is. So generally, you only get to do, like, one hover cancel at any given time. For, like, combos and mix-ups and things like that until you get your jetpack meter back. Which, again, requires you to be on the ground to be able to do that. So yeah, that's where we start getting into the fancy stuff. And now, as per requested, and as we were inevitably getting to, we're going to go over some basic combos for Vlad, things that you should know. You can extend some things from here, but I want to show you at least like some of my primary tech that I use for combos, and just good things to put into practice. So, let me check the chat for questions, things like that. Actually, yes. So somebody asked, because yes, I am going to be putting this on YouTube. So I figured I'd live stream it just because it's easier to export it that way. So somebody asked, does the jetpack meter recover during your super? And you'll be able to see that yes, it does. So yeah, like, even during the startup animation of the super, the jetpack meter recovers. So, if you're doing a long extended combo that uses a lot of jetpack meter, this is actually a pretty good way to get it back to full, for sure. Give me just 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, had to get a quick drink of water because I've been talking too much. This won't be the most high quality recording for a tutorial, but I figured I'd put something out there that would be useful. So yeah, super can actually get you your jetpack meter back. It's not usually too necessary because your jetpack meter usually recovers pretty well on its own as long as you stay grounded for like a couple of seconds. But yeah, it's a good thing to know that if you just activate your super during a long combo like that, you'll definitely have full jetpack meter by the time that you're done. Okay, so, combos. Here's the fun stuff. So, your most basic confirm is going to be, crouch light 2 times in the clobbering rush. If you're at point blank, you can safely do up to 3 jabs. But it's all dependent on distance. So like if you're doing some hover setup and you land really far away, you can just do like 1 jab to be safe. Even then that didn't quite work. But, yeah. Be mindful of your positioning, but... well, that was amazing. And that doesn't work. You can't combo to super off the jabs. Yeah, just gotta be mindful of your positioning. But, you know, the point is, you know, 2 jabs and a clobbering rush is a pretty safe pick. If you're point blank, you can do 3. And if you're kind of far out, you just do 1 to be safe. Make sure that it actually gets the hit confirm. So that's 1 combo. If you're trying to do frame traps or just something from up close, you can do as I showed before. Close medium. into Crouch Light and a Clobbering Rush. Also a pretty good combo. And now we're going to get into the more important stuff, which is hover combos. So, if you hit with a big jump in, or something like that, your main go-to combo, if you hit confirm off of the jump in, is going to be close heavy, hover cancel, so you just tap up, or you can actually hold up and then hit jump heavy, because as soon as you hit a normal, it will cancel your hover. Then you land, and then do close heavy again, and then you cancel that into Clobbering Rush, like this. So that's like one of your main bread and butters from up close, when you hit with like a jump in or a mix-up of some kind. So again, close heavy, hover cancel, heavy, close heavy, Clobbering Rush. 266 damage, and like 500 plus stun. 560 stun. So if you do that twice, you stun every character in the game. Which is pretty amazing. Now, in order to get some kind of hit confirm like this, you also have an option to do something like, if you're hovering or jumping in, you can do jump heavy, or something like that. Then hover cancel the jump heavy into another jump heavy, and then land close heavy Clobbering Rush. Kind of like that. Same amount of damage, pretty much. And because you're doing 2 jump attacks, you can pretty easily hit confirm the grounded hit, see if it actually worked. If your opponent is blocking and you try to do the hover cancel for like a double overhead and you're not sure if it's going to hit or not, you could kind of hit confirm it by doing the same thing, but when you land, just do jabs in the Clobbering Rush. Kind of like that. You get less damage, but you get a hit confirmed so that if they block the whole mix-up successfully, you still maintain pressure by just doing crouch jabs. So that's pretty good. Let's see. Now, the standard hover cancel combo that I showed before is also one of your main hit confirms in Super. So that was just canceling the third hit of Clobbering Rush into Super. And then after the Super hits, you juggle with Sweep. Now, juggling into Sweep is my personal favorite option. There's more that you can do with this. So if you're really fancy, you can do something like this. So that was me. After the super cinematic finishes, you're still technically airborne. So you can regain your air options after the cinematic finishes by hovering before you land. And then I just did a jump heavy, hover cancels into another jump heavy, which creates a standing reset situation. It's probably the highest damaging option that you can do juggling after a super safely. But I personally like to just do the sweep. Because it's a really easy single hit to get. It keeps them right next to you. And that lets you very easily set up your knockdown game, which I'm going to cover after this. So yeah, it's I do the sweep at the end mostly to keep positioning. There's a few different things that you can do after super. You can do like stand heavy into a missile. The missile won't juggle, but they'll kind of land into it so that they have to respect your next option afterwards. You could do stuff with target combo. You could do stuff with DP. You know, there's a handful of different things that you can do. But those two options that I showed are like generally my favorites, I guess. One